Max, there is no way by any calculation that you can add up the math and come up with the idea that LeBron James has the most pressure on him left outside of James Harden. Look, what's pressure about? Put your finger on it. It's about expectation. And as Stephen A. just so eloquently put out, you didn't even have an expectation for LeBron James to be this far. No one, including the Cleveland fan base, has expected LeBron James to carry this team as far as he has. That's one of the reasons we clap so much. That's one of the reasons we celebrate what's going on. He's carrying an entire team against most, I don't want to say all odds because now they're favored against the Celtics, but against most odds. So how does he have pressure on him when he's already defying everyone's expectations? Now, if I might just be so bold to put a finer point on what you just said, Stephen A., Chris Paul has the most pressure of everyone left outside of James Harden. And quite honestly, he might have more than James Harden. Here's why. I'll give it to you succinctly, but it's bullet pointed for you. Number one, he has pressure because James Harden has fallen short in the past. He has pressure because he has a teammate, the leader of the team, the 1A of that team, that has crumbled under pressure. So he knows it's on him. Number two, as you pointed out, Stephen A., he's fallen short in the past. And if we think making the finals, the Western Conference Finals, is getting that burden off of his shoulders, please. This is about championships. It always has been. Three, he was brought to Houston. He was brought here to do this, to win. Four, Daryl Morey said the whole thing, the whole enterprise is built to beat the Warriors. This is what expectation is. This is what pressure is. And finally,
you're arguing against your own point, Will.
Hold on, Max. And most
you're
importantly,
arguing against your own point.
Then you'll be able to defeat it easily in one moment. Finally, and most importantly, this is the window. This is it. He's 33 years old. He'll be a free agent. Clint Capella's a free agent. This is the Rockets' window to do what they were built to do. All the pressure is not just on Chris Paul, it's on him now.
You guys talk about expectations. Will, you just brought up expectations. That's exactly right. Expectations are also like odds. They reset given new circumstances. So are the expectations reset for LeBron James now that he just beat up the Toronto Raptors and Kevin Love is an all-star again suddenly and he's getting contributions from Korver and J.R. Smith, etc.? Yeah, the expectations are reset. That's why he's favored to beat the Celtics. Then you look at the Western Conference. As great as Chris Paul is and James Harden is, and I'm picking the Rockets to upset the Warriors, but that's the point. It's an upset. The expectation is that the Warriors will beat the Rockets, just as they made short work of the Cavs in the finals last year, and are now bringing back largely the same team. So when you talk about expectations for LeBron, it's you must make the finals. For Chris Paul, I mean, he might bristle at the suggestion that it's good enough to make the Western Conference Finals, but he's already been to where he's never been before. He's gotten there now, the Western Conference Finals. And if you look at the odds, he's not expected to advance. LeBron is.
Well, first of all, Max Kellerman, I mean, it might get to a point where I might strip you of your last name being Kellerman. Why don't we just call you Max Webster? Because evidently you feel the need to always explain the definition of what you're trying to elocute, first of all. Secondly, and more importantly, let's make sure we remember something here. At some point in time, you have to make up your mind, Max Kellerman. I say this respectfully and with nothing but affection, my brother. You keep talking about how great LeBron is and how nothing will take away from it, and how he's on the Mount Rushmore of basketball. What that speaks to is a resume and a level of accomplishment that cannot be denied. So losing a playoff series is not going to be the end of the world. Michael Jordan lost a playoff series. Barkley lost a ton of them, okay? Kobe's lost playoff series. Tim Duncan's lost playoff series. Champions and Hall of Fame. All I'm trying to say to you is that at the end of the day, when we look at the greats who are Hall of Famers, who are champions, we put them in a different stratosphere than those who have never accomplished it. Could you imagine for 1 second, Max Kellerman, if we're sitting here at the end of Chris Paul's career, this illustrious career, a point guard extraordinaire who's averaged 21-9 in his postseason career, but
and he
come
never
up short.
gets to a finals.
If he never went to a finals, Max, you're trying to tell me that pales in comparison to LeBron losing a playoff series?
Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Patrick Ewing, none of them won championships. You know why?
Okay.
Because there was a guy named Michael Jordan. And I tell you now, there was always more pressure on Michael Jordan than any one of those guys, in spite of the fact that he won it every year and they never did.
That is not true. That is false.
Max,
that is not,
Max,
that is not true.
You've defined expectation and pressure, Max. You've defined it almost exclusively as coming out of Las Vegas. You've said whoever is the upset and whoever is the favorite defines pressure, basically. But listen, if you don't believe me, you don't believe Stephen A., listen to Chris Paul. Chris Paul himself says this isn't good enough. This isn't why he came to Houston. Listen to his boss. Listen to Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey says this was built for the single purpose to take down the Warriors. That's pressure.
First of all, I use Vegas as shorthand. I mean, it's not the exclusive measure of who's the underdog.
See, you explain it again,
clearly,
Max
they're the
Webster.
underdog by popular opinion, by Las Vegas, etc. And when you talk about Chris Paul's kind of internal motivation, fine. Various players feel that to varying degrees, and I'm willing to believe Chris Paul puts enormous pressure on himself. He's 6 feet tall and one of the greatest players I've ever seen. Of course, something's driving him there. But you say, well, we brought Chris Paul to Houston to win a championship, etc. How many, not everyone was taking the Rockets even as the second best team when the season started. A lot of people thought that would be the Thunder. So let's not pretend that on paper this Rockets team was supposed to beat the Warriors.
Daryl Morey did.
Daryl Morey. He's going to need we got to wrap it up soon. He's going to need the last word. Yeah, go ahead, and then Max will get the last word.
Molly, I'll wrap it up by, first of all, Max doesn't deserve the last word on this particular subject.
He always gets the last word. You know this, Stephen A.
He always takes it. He's addicted to it. It's like crack. It's like crack to him. But the bottom line is this. At the end of the day, he's chirping again. There's two pivotal points. Number one, Max doesn't get to make this argument. Number one, because he swears that LeBron is the best in the world, and he raves about that every day that he can. And number two, he picked the Rockets. So it's both sides of the fence.